For hundreds of thousands of years, humans survived strictly by reacting to the world around them. During the Paleolithic, or Old Stone Age, our ancestors were entirely nomadic hunter-gatherers, following seasonal weather patterns and tracking migrating herds. They traveled in small, mobile bands of roughly 20 to 50 people. If the climate shifted, they moved. If the herds thinned out, they starved. Because they were entirely dependent on whatever nature chose to provide, they left virtually no permanent physical mark on the landscape. Then, around 6000 BCE, an alternative emerged. Instead of endlessly chasing the food supply, humans decided to control it. They began planting reliable crops like wheat and barley, and taming wild sheep and goats. Humans essentially entered into a contract with other species. We provided the plants and animals with protection and nourishment, and they provided us with a stable, predictable source of calories and labor. Refusing to follow nature meant you could no longer pack up and move when the seasons changed. That single choice to dictate terms to the environment anchored humanity to the land, providing the stability required to build everything that followed. Because you can't tend a crop if you're constantly migrating, early farmers had to build homes that lasted. They traded temporary caves for rectangular mud brick structures and stone villages built around grain storage rooms and communal spaces. This settled lifestyle demanded upgraded technology. Moving past the chipped flint of the Paleolithic, Neolithic artisans ground and smoothed stone into highly precise, polished tools, crafting specialized sickles for harvesting and heavy corns for grinding grain into flour. To protect their harvests, they developed pottery. By firing hand-coiled clay in open pits, people could finally store water reliably, boil and ferment their food, and express their individual artistry through complex geometric patterns on the clay. Simultaneously, the cultivation of flax and the domestication of sheep yielded materials that could be twisted into thread. The spinning and weaving of linen and wool clothing became an intricate, women-dominated craft. Efficient stone tools, reliable harvests, and clay storage vessels combined to create something humans rarely experienced in the wild: surplus. Having extra food banked for the winter meant time was finally freed up. Surplus meant that not every single person in a village had to spend their day farming. A person could now spend their entire life working strictly as a potter, a weaver, or a priest, sustained entirely by the excess food grown by their neighbors. Villages with a surplus of grain sought out resources they couldn't grow.
Archaeological sites show coastal shells and volcanic obsidian glass used for cutting tools being traded intentionally across hundreds of miles in early organized global networks. Controlling the physical environment naturally prompted questions about the invisible forces that controlled the rain and the harvests. Communities developed elaborate rituals, burying their dead under their own floors to venerate ancestors, and shaping fertility goddesses from clay to ask for agricultural abundance. These shared existential questions eventually manifested in physical space, resulting in massive, permanent stone structures erected across the landscape. These communities quarried, transported, and raised standing stones weighing up to 25 tons across hundreds of miles. They executed these engineering marvels without the use of metal tools and entirely without the wheel. They carefully aligned these megaliths with the solstices for astronomical observation, while others were built as elaborate passage tombs and physical symbols of a community's identity. Moving thousands of tons of rock requires complex social hierarchy, specialized labor, and a unified belief system powerful enough to motivate generations of workers. The megaliths prove that early farmers were highly organized and deeply ambitious. But the contract of agriculture included several punishing clauses. Living shoulder to shoulder with domesticated animals in densely populated villages created the perfect biological incubator. Entirely new epidemic diseases, like smallpox and influenza, jumped from livestock to humans. Relying on fewer staple crops narrowed the human diet. The skeletal record shows early farmers were physically smaller than nomadic hunters. Furthermore, farming with stone tools subjected the body to immense stress, leaving evidence of severe joint disease and widespread arthritis.
Furthermore, accumulating a surplus of property meant having wealth worth conquering. Settled land sparked systemic warfare, while those individuals who managed to control the most acreage and food established a strict class society, replacing the relatively flat social structure of hunter-gatherers with deep inequality. The resulting surge in disease, harder labor, and extreme social stratification is so stark in the archaeological record that historian Jared Diamond famously argued that adopting agriculture was the worst mistake in the history of the human race. Yet, viewing agriculture purely as a mistake diminishes the extreme resilience of these early communities. They faced massive, self-inflicted biological and social challenges, and they met them with relentless invention. The legacy of their choices surrounds you. The domesticated food on your table, the woven fibers on your back, and the structure of your cities all stem directly from their decision to plant a seed and stay put. As humanity eventually discovered copper, developed written language, and formed early governments to transition into the Bronze Age, they did so entirely on the stable, surplus-producing foundation built by the first farmers. This impulse, to actively shape the world rather than inhabit it as it is, remains the core of civilization. It was a trade-off that ended 1,000,000 years of survival and began the history of human invention.